Tonight is not like other nights. When the world goes quiet and your body lies down to rest, that is when unseen battles often begin. Fear enters the mind without permission. Dreams turn heavy, and peace feels distant. An ex-witch who once understood the dark side from the inside now reveals a truth that can change your nights forever. This is not about superstition or fear, but about authority, protection, and spiritual rest. There is a simple 5-minute prayer before sleep that creates a shield no attack can cross. When spoken with faith, it brings calm to your mind's strength, to your spirit, and safety to your rest. This message is for anyone who feels drained, afraid, or disturbed at night, and is ready to reclaim peaceful sleep. When night falls and the noise of the world fades, many people think everything finally rests, but that is not always true. The quiet hours are when hidden pressure rises and thoughts you did not invite begin to speak. Fear often comes without reason, and sadness appears without a clear cause. Dreams turn heavy, and sleep no longer feels like rest, but like a struggle. An X which reveals that these moments are not accidents or weakness. They are signs of unseen influence trying to disturb your peace and drain your strength. Many people blame stress or imagination and never realize that awareness is the first form of protection. Night attacks rarely appear as something dramatic, but as anxiety, restlessness, and sudden heaviness in the heart. You lie down tired, yet your mind refuses to settle, and peace feels far away. This confusion makes people feel powerless and alone. But once you understand the truth, fear loses its grip. Knowledge replaces panic and prepares you to stand instead of surrender. The X which explains that darkness works best when people are unaware and unprepared. It looks for moments of vulnerability when the body is resting and defenses are lowered. That is why the night becomes a target, not because you are weak, but because you are quiet. When you recognize this pattern, you stop fighting blindly. You begin to see that protection starts before sleep, not during fear. Awareness turns the night from a threat into a moment of intentional preparation. This understanding brings motivation, not fear, because it means you are not helpless. You are not broken, and you are not losing control. What you experience has a reason, and every reason has a response. Once you accept that spiritual preparation matters, your mindset shifts completely. You stop going to bed unguarded and start entering rest with purpose. This alone brings confidence and calm before any prayer is even spoken. Knowing the reality of night attacks empowers you to take responsibility for your peace. Instead of dreading the night, you begin to respect it. You realize that rest is sacred and worth protecting. The moment you prepare your spirit, you change the atmosphere around you. Darkness loses access when awareness stands watch, and this is the first step toward peaceful sleep and restored strength. Many people believe that protection requires long rituals and exhausting words, but true power works differently. The X which reveals that darkness does not measure strength by duration, but by agreement. A short prayer spoken with clarity and faith carries more authority than hours of empty words. 5 minutes is enough when the heart is fully present and the mind is focused. In those moments, intention becomes a shield and awareness becomes a wall. This truth removes pressure and makes protection possible for everyone. The reason this short prayer works is because it closes access points that are often left open. Fear, doubt, and exhaustion create silent permissions without people realizing it. The prayer interrupts that pattern and replaces it with surrender and trust. In those 5 minutes, you are not begging but declaring peace and safety over your rest. Darkness retreats when authority is spoken calmly and confidently. What matters is alignment, not effort, and sincerity, not length. Consistency turns this prayer into a habit, and habits shape the spiritual environment. When you repeat the same words nightly, your mind learns safety, and your spirit learns confidence. The X which explains that repetition builds a boundary that grows stronger with time. Each night the prayer reinforces protection and weakens fear. Soon the body responds with relaxation and the mind responds with quiet. What once felt heavy begins to feel light and familiar. This understanding motivates you to value small disciplined actions. You realize that transformation does not always require dramatic change. Sometimes 5 focused minutes can shift an entire night. The prayer becomes a moment of grounding after a long day. It reminds you that you are not alone and not exposed. Entering sleep with intention changes how you experience rest. Peace becomes expected instead of hoped for. When you trust the power of this simple practice, fear loses its influence. You stop overthinking and start resting with confidence. The night no longer feels uncertain because preparation is already complete. 5 minutes of alignment creates hours of peace, and that is enough to reclaim your sleep and your strength. When peaceful sleep begins to replace restless nights, life starts to change in quiet, powerful ways. The body relaxes without effort, and the mind stops racing without force. Dreams become lighter and no longer carry fear or confusion. You wake up without heaviness, and the day feels less demanding. The X which explains that this is a sign of spiritual safety, not coincidence. Rest becomes restoration instead of survival. As this prayer becomes part of your nightly routine, confidence slowly takes root. You stop going to bed with uncertainty and start expecting calm. Fear no longer decides how your night will unfold. The heart settles because it knows protection has already been declared. Sleep becomes a place of trust rather than vulnerability. This shift alone brings emotional strength and mental clarity. Over time, this consistent peace affects more than just the night. Your reactions during the day become calmer and your patience grows naturally. Anxiety loses its grip because rest has done its healing work. The X which reveals that many people feel weak only because they never truly rest. When sleep is protected, the spirit regains energy and balance. Strength returns quietly but powerfully. This transformation also rebuilds joy and hope that fear once suppressed. You begin to enjoy silence instead of fearing it. Darkness loses influence when peace becomes familiar. The prayer does not just block attacks, it restores confidence in your inner world. You feel guarded even when challenges appear. That sense of safety changes how you live and move forward. Peaceful sleep is not a reward for the lucky, but a right for the prepared. When you protect your rest, you protect your future. Night after night, this practice builds resilience and trust. You no longer wake up drained but renewed. This is how strength is restored through rest. And this is where true peace begins. Tonight, you are no longer powerless or unprepared. You now understand the reality of the night, the power of intentional prayer, and the transformation that peaceful sleep brings. What was once feared can now be faced with confidence and calm. Protection is not complicated, and peace is not distant. When you choose awareness, consistency, and faith, you reclaim your rest and your strength. Go to sleep knowing you are guarded, restored, and safe.